Do you have any alternative research programs for scientists?
Yes, I do. And I believe that it's what scientists will be doing in the future. Obviously, scientists are not going to say, well, Johnson has proposed a research program, so let's do that. What I'm doing here is not dictating to anybody. I'm predicting the way in which I think science will develop of its own accord in the future. And what I expect to happen is this, that as further knowledge of embryology, of molecular biology accumulates, it will become more and more difficult to deny that the processes involved are much more complex and involve many more sources of information of a very complex kind than can be accounted for by the Darwinian method. That it's just going to become increasingly rickety as a paradigm. And I think research interest is going to then shift away from such unsolvable, for now, problems as the origin of life, let's say, or the present agenda of evolutionary biology. And instead, what the researchers will be doing is concentrating on figuring out how the life processes work. And in order to do that, they're going to have to concentrate on what is the most significant thing about those processes, which is that they involve information. In the same sense that the programs in your home personal computer involve information, which is the product of pre-existing intelligence. The agenda of biology is going to be to find out how that intelligence works in the living organism. And to do that, they will have to discard the Darwinian interpretation of life, which is that it's only matter evolving by natural selection. So then, of course, you're in a whole new world. You'll learn a whole lot more about what life is and how it works. And at the end of that process, at some time in the future, it might be possible to formulate more intelligent questions about how things came to be the way they are, which we can't even predict for now. Just as to return to my analogy about the alchemists in the Middle Ages, once science had discarded the dream of alchemy and developed a different research agenda, we learned about electrons and the nuclei of atoms. We learned about what the difference between elements and compounds was. And now it's possible to imagine a way in which you might change lead into gold, you see, because you know something more about how theoretically it might be done. Maybe something of the kind could happen in the future with science. But for science to make any progress towards that point, I think it'll have to discard the 19th century materialist ideology within which it is presently confined.